I'm watching the Mariners, Kalen.
Jeez, I know I just saw that. Wow.
Bottom of 16.
Have you watched any of it yet?
Nuh-uh. No, I haven't.
A little busy.
All right, so we'll start it off and then we'll do questions.
Okay. Obviously, always good to win, especially coming off of a couple close ones the last 2 weeks. Always things to clean up and keep getting better at. I think the things that we knew would be challenges were challenges today with DeBoer just scrambling around buying time. It's just what he does. I know they threw for a lot of yards, but I think probably even going to the game, they were probably throwing for more than we were in conference games. So we knew I had our hands full. I know we want to be better, but guys kept fighting, found a way to get off the field there in the end of the game when it really mattered. So, the offense doing a good job, making it a 10-point game again in the fourth quarter. Super proud of just the way they executed all day. Mike was obviously on his game, and, the guys just making plays, taking care of the football. You could see that they were going for it, and just ball security, a high priority, all season long, but showed up again today. So proud of the guys, proud of the effort, getting through this stretch right here before our bye week. Got another one next week, and, keep stringing these along. We got to go get a road win. I know the guys are determined to do that. Questions?
With Penix, obviously breaking the single game record today, where does that performance rank in the games you've seen him play and just in the games you've been around to quarterback?
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever had I feel like we had one maybe 500-yard game in there somewhere, but it's got to be up there because it's not just about what he did statistically. He just keeps putting the pressure on and really leading the charge to help us win the football game. We needed all those points and all those yards that he gave us, and when it matters most at the end of the half, you get a 2-minute drive and find a way with just a few seconds to go, and you trust him because I'm telling him that ball has to be in the end zone. Otherwise we might just run out of time with no timeouts. And the trust you have in him, and he throws it out there in the flat, and he can see that Sam's got a pretty good chance of getting in. You put the ball in his hands, and good things are happening. So it's not just about the statistics. It's about just how he leads and how he just is so calm under pressure and keeps charging ahead. And when you're that talented and you're that prepared, good things should happen, and I'm proud of him.
You lost your fourth starter from your original 5 in the secondary. Can you even fathom that, losing 4 starters? I mean, you got some back.
Yeah.
What happened to Dom? And it's kind of overload now with losing guys back there.
Dom's was just from last weekend, just something. And I would hope that maybe by the middle of next week we could have him back, and so back for next week, and slowly but surely. I think we got through. I know Tristan went down, but some guys limping around. But hopefully we can continue to get healthier as the season goes on, and one guy comes back and another guy goes out. So it's just been all those guys continue to fight and battle, and it's not perfect, but I'm proud of the way that they're ready the next week to hop back in there and go to work.
His fourth 100-yard game in a row, first player in UW history to do that. Is there anything more you can say about Rome that you basically haven't already? Because it seems like a broken record at this point. He just every week seems to do it.
Just super consistent, and I think that whole receiving core just really, bonding tight, and they're so happy for Rome. Rome, is as humble as it comes, and he's an easy guy to root for. And the cool thing is he's got guys like J-Mac and Polk, who are making their own plays themselves, but they're just so fired up for him that he's having the success he is, and he just is just so steady, and you trust, and he's, coming back on scramble drill, high effort, but, got the skills to go along with it too. So I'm super proud of him.
You ever had a receiver like Rome in terms of his skill set and ability and consistency?
He, coached long enough. He coached some good ones, but he's certainly special. He's special, because he brings that size and that strength, and just, I feel like what I've seen from him based on from last year's film and even some of spring ball, I feel so much more confident with the 50-50 balls, and just him finding a way. He can run by people, as we saw in the one touchdown catch that he bobbled a little bit, and he can get behind the defense. But I see it in practice throughout the fall camp, and I've seen it throughout the season where, give him a chance, and he'll find a way. I think that's really where he's continued to grow because he's been consistent, from what I've seen over the course of his career, even before this season.
Sam Adams got a lot of snaps today. Can you talk about just kind of his progression and what it took for him to get on the field and just make an impact like he did today?
Yeah, Sam's just been right there, and a couple guys dinged up from last weekend's game, and it's next man up, and Sam's chomping at the bit. He's worked hard. Just really appreciate how he's coming to work every day, and waiting for his opportunity. And that was today, and just a lot of trust in him. I thought, again, just like CD, maybe gave us a little more juice around the edge a couple times, turned the corner on a few runs, and, especially down the red zone. I can think of one to the left there. But just, all these guys just continue to chip away and continue to improve every day. I feel like we still have a lot of potential left in our offense when guys like that are getting just a few snaps, and each week, you never know who's going to show up and lead the charge.
On that subject, do you have an update on Rich Newton?
I would hope that Rich would be back for next week. So I'll probably know more for sure on Monday.
Is Jeremiah Martin bugging you to play offense or what?
Yeah, we snuck him in there. He's been in there before, you have a baby, right? And you have a kid, he had a kid on Thursday, and, you go play defense, you might as well just throw some more things on his plate, right? He's just a beast up there, and there's some things, where we feel like he can help us out. And he really got up there and mashed. Probably the biggest thing you worry about is maybe a false start when it's a guy that's not used to the cadence and things like that. But Jeremiah is just a person you trust, and we put him in there, and he helped us find the end zone there.
In the first half, there was a pretty even balance of running and passing. I think in the first 30 plays, it was 15 runs, 15 passes. And then second half sort of switched to a more pass-heavy approach. Was there a reason to sort of put the game in the hands of the passing attack?
Yeah, I think we saw at the end of the half, and I know it's always different in 2 minutes, but just being a conscious decision that the passing game, just our base stuff that we do with Mike and receivers winning and the protection our line was given, just executing our what we do. They were struggling to defend it, and you give Mike enough chances a couple times every 3 plays, and he's going to complete 1 at minimum, and usually 2 out of 3, and now you got a new set of downs. And the explosive opportunities when he has the ball in his hands, especially with this receiving core, and showed up today again. So there was, I think, definitely a feeling as the game went on more and more that, it was pretty hard for them to stop us throwing the football.
With Jeremiah, you mentioned having a baby on Thursday. What was his week? Was he around for everything? What was that like from what you could tell?
He missed that day. He missed that morning. Yep, he missed that morning, and he came in Friday, and I remember seeing how excited he was, and thinking to myself, okay, I got 2 kids, and I know, he's not the one having the kid, but it's a lot, right? It's emotionally, draining, and thinking he's going to hit the wall on Saturday. But he's a guy that is so positive. His attitude of gratitude and the opportunity, he came to me after the game, is just so appreciative of just, where things are at, just personally and also on the football field. So he's a guy that motivates you to come back to work every day and give everything you got. That's for sure.
Obviously, the injuries are a big part of it, but do you see a path forward to defending the pass better? It's another game with a pretty big total there.
Yeah, and this one was really going to be a tough matchup for us with what they do. They got the yards down the sideline. I think those are the ones that you really, they throw it so quick you can't really get your pass rush to the quarterback where they're just throwing it up on the fade balls. And hemming in DeLora, he's different. And when he got out, there's just some of those 15, 20-yard strikes when he's scrambling, and you can't come off your receiver, and then he takes off and runs when you do the opposite. He's just he's crafty that way, and so there's certainly we have to keep going to work every single day. I felt more confident this week in practice than I have over the last 3 weeks, just in the direction and the flow and the vibe our secondary had. Just it starts with communication and getting lined up, and I think Asa brings a lot of that to us. He just kind of a calming effect. Guys trust him. He knows he's I think a pretty football savvy, smart guy, and they trust him, and I think that's where it starts. And with him and AC out there, at least we're going to get lined up right, consistently and against all the different looks we see. So we got to get back to work and, getting hopefully Dom back, if we can get him back for next week along with this group, and we can continue to build that strength. I don't think we'll see too many passing attacks like we saw today, just because, you got Cowing who's going to run the underneath stuff and can be explosive, and then they can throw the ball down the sideline to their big guys, and it's just tough to defend. They got a good group of skills, that's for sure.
You expecting Mish back next week?
There is a small chance. There's a chance that it could happen. Yeah. Yep.
Talk about your normal offense having success versus Arizona today, and you kind of struggled on short yardage in the first half. What kind of goes into that decision to bring everything in tight and run it versus just leaving your normal offense out there and letting Penix throw the ball?
Well, as far as going for it, is that what you're saying?
Not even just going for it, but the play calling specifically. If you see your normal offense working.
Obviously we got to keep going back to the drawing board, and I think the key is that we don't let it rain when it rains it pours, right? There's 3 short yardage if you go back to last week where we came up short, and when it rains it pours, but I'm just so. We preach to our guys be 1-0 and focus on that play and that down. And you can't let what happened a week ago or 4 weeks ago, whatever it was, dictate what's going to be and play scared. That's just not the way we're going to be. We're going to do what we think is right for that moment. And unfortunately, we came up short. So we got to go back and we got to really look at that and decide. Okay, decision. Play call, that's part of the process we do with every play. But obviously, when it's fourth down, those are big opportunities and big moments.
I know everybody's tried to forget last year, but today was a milestone because they won a 5th game, which didn't happen last year. Anybody talk about that?
No, that really hasn't been a thing. I think no, it hasn't. So comparing last year to this year or anything in the past, I think, winning 5 and just continue to build. I mean, we're, what we talked about in the locker room was we're on a journey, we're on a mission. And every step along the journey, we need to continue to make sure we're learning and continue to get better. It's obvious there's things we got to get better at, and I think we will, as long as we keep the attitude and effort that we show each and every day, and we stick together. Those things will happen. But we're 7 games in now as a staff. Going through these moments, and these moments are the ones that you can refer back to as a team. Because it's probably going to happen again. Where it comes down to finishing a game. Here even this season, and these moments where you come through and you find a way to win, they're big, and you learn from the moment where you're going to the fourth quarter with kind of feels like a good lead, but they got the ball, and you can't relax, and so all those things are the things we'll talk about, learn from, and continue to move on. All right, thanks guys.